come to Chessington World of Adventures with me, Ryan, and our cheeky toddler Charlie. But first we started the morning by prepping a yummy packed lunch while Charlie ran all around the house, quite literally. We all then hopped into the car and headed off to Chessington. Funnily, I checked my Facebook memories this morning and realised that our first trip with Charlie to Chessington was exactly 2 years ago, and now we were heading here again for his 11th trip. We've been quite a bit because me and Ryan have Marlin passes, and children under 90 centimetres gets free entry, so we never had to buy Charlie a ticket before, which is great news for us because there's so much for a toddler to do at Chessington. Charlie especially likes the Julia Donaldson rides because he's big fans of the book, so we started the day with Room Boom before going to see an owl show. We then next went to the carousel where Charlie had so much fun riding the giraffe. He was so smiley and giggly throughout the ride, he barely paid any attention to Ryan. Charlie, the little thrill seeker he is, then demanded to go on even more rides, so we took him onto the dragon boats. And all the years that me and Ryan have been to Chessington, I didn't know that next to this ride was a little soft play area. We only discovered it once we had Charlie. Anyways, here's Ryan failing to get Charlie's attention again. Charlie then had lots of fun making Elmo fly by pressing the button over and over and over and over again before we headed off for some lunch. And at lunch we sat down and looked at the Gruffalo Spring Spectacular passport. The idea was you had to gather all these stamps in order to get a prize at the end. So we headed to the Gruffalo ride to find our first stamp. Charlie loved playing with the little puzzle on the cube, but he got a bit shy when he noticed a kid hiding behind one. Anyways, we got into the ride and Charlie absolutely loved spotting the Gruffalo characters. The Gruffalo is one of Charlie's favourite books. He actually adores anything Julia Donaldson, really. So this was the perfect ride for our little toddler. Fun fact, he actually rode this ride for the first time when he was just a little baby. It was actually the first ride he ever been on. Normally you can get a bit wet on this ride, but today one of the little water fountains was broken, so it splashed me and Charlie right in the face at the end. Anyways, after me and Charlie had a power shower, we then looked around the shop where Charlie found the little brown mouse and about 100 plushies, and despite Charlie having 100 plushies, I bought him one more because this Gruffalo was adorable. We then got the passport stamped in the shop, and then we turned the corner and we found another little brown mouse and got our second stamp. We then put Charlie in the pram and walked around the zoo hoping he would nap and also hoping we would find more stamps. And we did. We found the owl right by the Trail of Kins, and then we headed over to the penguins where we found the snake. Charlie was still having a little snooze in the pram, so we headed over to the hotel to look at the animals right by Safari. And then after a while, Charlie eventually woke up, where he was greeted by many animals including giraffes and zebras. Fun fact, if you stay at the Chessington Hotel, in some rooms you can actually have a view of the animals from your window. We haven't stayed before because we live quite close to Chessington, but I'm quite tempted to book a room just because I would love to wake up and see the animals. Anyways, we then headed over to the location of the next stamp and to meet the Gruffalo. Despite the look on Charlie's face, I think he really did enjoy it. The Gruffalo gave him a high five and a cuddle, and once we left, Charlie then demanded to go back in the queue. However, the queue was a good 20 minutes, so we headed to the Gruffalo ride instead. This time Charlie sat with Daddy and we all tried to avoid the broken water fountain at the end. We had another look around the shop, and this time Charlie found books, so he demanded to sit on the floor and be read to immediately, despite being right next to the till. After telling Charlie that this wasn't a library, it was in fact a store, we then headed over to the giant Elmer's again, and it was Daddy's turn to experience Charlie going mad on the button, which might have made Ryan feel a bit travel sick. We then found the final stamp right by the Jungle Rangers, and with the passport complete, we headed over to Sea Life to claim our prize. But first, we looked round at the little fishies. This is another reason why we love taking Charlie to Chessington, because not only do you have the zoo and rides, you also have the Sea Life Centre that you can look around. In the Sea Life shop, we then claimed Charlie's prize, which happened to be Gruffalo stickers. Charlie is currently in his sticker hour, so this was actually the perfect prize for him. Once we got home, I gave Charlie an instant smoothie juice, and we sat down and watched the Gruffalo.